How do you deal with that feeling that you've wasted a lot of time in your life? You are younger today than you ever will be again. What is properly using time in your life? Pretty much just somebody's opinion, so who cares what I'm doing with my time? I remind myself of my dad. The dude was a serious late bloomer, moved from Holland at age 21 with $50 in his pocket, worked on a family friend's farm for 2 years, went to college to become a math and PE teacher, did his practicum and then realized teaching wasn't for him, still finished the degree and graduated at 27 with no job and no prospective future. He was foreign and has told me he had very few friends and was incredibly lonely during this time. Kind of drifted and was pretty broke for a couple years, doing odd jobs and traveling a lot in his late 20s, early 30s. Went on some truly incredible trips like 6 months in China, Nepal, Tibet, and India in 1983, then another 3/4 of a month in Shea, Asia, started doing steel erection for a small construction company, eventually moved into the office to do estimating, met my mom who worked as a draftsperson for a local architect. They dated for several years, during which he continued to travel and met the first people you could call friends through playing soccer, eventually married my mom at 36. Worked his ass off and became more and more important to the company he worked for, was offered a small partnership stake. Today he owns a good chunk of the same company and is the best father I could have asked for. He has a fantastic group of friends that him and mom see regularly and take trips with. He didn't even start to get his life into gear until 31st, and things turned out pretty good for him. It give me a lot of faith that if I just keep moving forward I'll find my path as well. By not wasting more of it. Go out and build a fence. Run a race. Chat with a stranger. A squirrel. Apply for a new job. Learn a new skill. The world is your oyster. Just don't sit at home watching reruns of old TV shows while wishing you weren't wasting your time. Yeah, you're right. I really need to get a grip of my life and rescue you. Wait, what? I don't get that. Everything I did and didn't do brought me to the place I'm at now. I've wasted 9 years working at McDonald's. And I don't regret it at all. Everything you do can be a lesson, as long as you're willing to learn. I've wasted my time learning a profession that I don't use anymore. I wasted a few years learning to do my dream profession only to find out that I hate it. And as a massive computer nerd I waste most of my time playing games. But all of that taught me lessons that I learn in my life. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Every second you spend thinking about the time you've wasted is a second you could be spending doing the thing you wish you'd done years ago. Sure, maybe hypothetically you're 40 and haven't accomplished anything. Those are years you're never getting back. If you spend the next 10 years worrying about it, then in 10 years you'll be 50 without having accomplished anything. But if you start writing that book, or screenplay, or learn to code and start working on that game today, then in 10 years you could be a published author, or screenwriter, or game developer, or maybe not. Maybe you're just not cut out for that thing you want to do. If you've given it your best shot and it didn't work, try something else. Doing nothing is what got you here, so try something. It may not work, but it's not nothing. A lot of regrets come from the fact that hindsight is 20/20. You have no idea how much you missed out on in the moment. You think about it after the fact. If I know, dude, I'm sure I practically pissed away my early and mid-20s, and some days that's all I can think about. Even though I'm more productive now, I can't shake that feeling when I get it. I guess I'll reach a point in my life where it won't really matter anymore. Time does heal everything after all, but I wish I could move past it sooner. You can't waste time because nothing matters anyway. Study Zen Buddhism and learn to experience life in the present while acknowledging that neither the past nor future exist. The past is depression, the future is anxiety. Live in the now. No time is wasted. You're here to live. There's no measuring stick that judges you by what you have or haven't done. We're here to gain experience. And experience can range from observing a koi fish in a pond to having a child to creating a painting to caring for a sick relative. You're on your own timeline. Every day you're alive and you haven't terminated your life on this planet. You're learning and growing and doing what you were sent here to do. Life is often hard. And we're not perfect and we don't always do the things that we think we should. But you've not wasted anything. Think about it. There probably are a lot of things when you were growing up that threw some handicaps your way. People, events, circumstances. You often didn't have control of those things, but they still happened. So, knowing that those things happened to you, unbidden, and you dealt with them the best way you could with your level of maturity or understanding, how on earth is that your fault? How could you be responsible for wasting time? You realize that worrying about time you've already wasted is simply wasting more time. Get up and make the life changes you need to. Do something and it will go away. If you get that feeling and you don't do anything about it, then you will feel worse. Post about it on Reddit. Ironically, life is not a journey leading up to a certain point. You are not working toward retirement like something big will happen one day. Like music, it should be enjoyed from beginning to end. While some parts might not be as exciting as others, please try to find joy in whatever you have now. You will be fine. Heart. Depression naps. I'll try not to waste so much in my next incarnation. I deal with it by wasting other people's time. Log out of RuneScape. Step 1. Immediately stop wasting more time worrying about things you haven't done. Step 2. Do more things. Take classes. Say yes more. I'm in that brain space right now. Let me tell you what I do when this comes up. I make a plan, starting from right now, on what I want to be doing, where I want to be, how I want things to go, etc. I've wasted a bunch of time doing stupid stuff over the years, but I've done cool stuff too. Sometimes they're hard to separate. Don't stress or dwell on the wasted time. You don't accomplish anything besides wasting more time worrying over wasted time. Develop a plan. Do something productive, and be sure to reward yourself when you do move the ball down the field a bit. People say things like, "That's an hour of my life I'm never getting back." I've got some bad news for you. Every hour of your life, you're never getting back. Simple. Well, you can't change the past obviously, but the next best time to change your life is now. Go out, make that appointment you've been dreading, call or text the person you've been missing, end that awful relationship you're stuck in. Make the change now and be happy about the upcoming changes, and don't look back on what you've missed. I just bottle it all up as I continue to stumble blindly through life with no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Get off your ass and make the most of the time you have. The past is done, but you can learn from it. You're here worrying about wasted time. What about wasting money? I mean, I probably spent about $1 million on booze, loose women, and gambling during my life. The rest I wasted by wasting more time. Because at this point at least I can call it a commitment. Coming from a transgender point of view, this is an interesting thought because I've technically spent only under a year being me, at age 29, which sometimes feels like it's too late. But if I hadn't had those prior years of confusion, depression, social awkwardness, and compromise, then I wouldn't have the experience or emotional maturity to deal with career development, a serious relationship, and the political climate as I do this thing in 2019. With that in mind, maybe it was just the right time to start because any earlier could have been disastrous. On the contrary, maybe I could have benefited from the physiological changes that would have came with starting young. Either way, I'm fine. I guess that can be applied to any goal in any life. It's never too late or too early, because both have their pros and cons. Creative projects. Mostly songwriting, but it could be as simple as a fun idea in a game like Parkitect. Hi Op. I really relate to you. I tend to dwell on this so much I drive myself into panic. Everyone is different, but what has worked for me is not to think about it. When I start thinking about anything along these lines, I kind of have to force myself to do something that immerses my conscious thought. I avoid tasks like cleaning or watching a movie or reading because of how easily I zone out and get back into that depressing thought pattern. I have found that the best solutions for me are to practice piano or calculate the weekly sales from work. This is a responsibility I have started to take home because it requires quiet and brain power, so perfect for this exact instance. By the time I move on from the intended distraction, I am in a better mental state and end up being productive through the rest of the day. Don't worry about feeling like you need to be working towards some big goal. If you can put today's self at ease, you will do better tomorrow. Be kind to yourself. Op. Waste more time by typing this comment. Waste more time dwelling on how much time I have wasted. Just try not to regret what's already past. Focus on now and the future. Drink, game, sleep, mindless Reddit browsing. I'm more, weed, game, drink, Netflix, sleep, priorities man. Don't view it as wasting time. Everything you did has led you to this point. Maybe you think you wasted 3 years at a company you hated, but those 3 hated years propelled you into your job or position today. Oh man, I have this feeling a lot, and every time it occurs I try to turn that feeling into something productive. Read, learn something new, write or create something. I hate the feeling, especially when I see others who have achieved so much. Make some new goals and try to improve yourself as much as possible. Go to the gym and work out. This is a bit late, so it's probably gonna get buried, but for the one person it helps. I used to panic a lot about not making my mark on history or not being crazy rich or famous yet, but when I put it into the perspective of how much time is left in the universe, this helped a lot. I mean, if most theories about the potential age of the universe are correct, then even someone like Genghis Khan or Pythagoras or even Hitler, who all built massive legacies for better or worse, are simply a blink in the span of that. And so are their legacies. It feels bad, but if you can enjoy the peace, that isn't time wasted. Most of the time we feel this way because our society brings us up to believe life is all about achievements. It's not. It's not about doing nothing too, but enjoying your existence is a life worth living. If you're really feeling like you should be doing more, pick a random subject you're slightly interested in and go buy a book on it. Commit to finishing it. Then repeat the process. Learning is incredibly satisfying, and you'll be surprised how proud of yourself you are. And you'll grow to appreciate all the different styles of life in the world and those who take the time to put in a book for you to discover. For example, I have no interest in being a scientist and doing brain scans and studies on people to figure out how the brain works. But man, reading about how our brain functions is amazing, and it's all thanks to someone taking the time out to record and report the findings and some writer wanting to make a book on it. Smoke weed to forget it. There is more of it to go. Time is elastic depending on how much effort you want to give to the task you want to complete. By accepting that you can't change the past, only the present. When people touch me, or are even near me when high up or doing something focused, it's not their fault, I'm just weird. I don't really think about it, to be honest. The fact that you've reached the age of 15 means that you have had more of life to enjoy than roughly 60% of all humans that have ever been born. Perhaps just realize you did what seemed best given your knowledge and circumstance. Usually I go on Reddit. Keep on keeping on. Think about other people who wasted all the time in their life. You'll feel better about your life. I used to feel this way more than I do now. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to your dream life. Just live the life you have now and make the most of it. Try to enjoy every day. You stop wasting it by using those negative thoughts to drive you on to do positive things you enjoy when you can. Also get a good work-life balance the best you can. Stop living in the past. You can only be happy if you make the best of each current moment in life. Don't worry about the future. It's never too late to change something. You create your own reality. Remember, you will never feel ready to take that first step. I remember a quote someone on Reddit posted once. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. You can't change the past or the decisions you made. What you can do is forgive yourself for the things you wish you had done differently and move on. Then you can focus on being better for the future. I was just reading how time spent doing something different is actually time spent well. When you stick to the same routine, that is actually when time starts to blur together. Do things you've wanted to do. I had 8 years of my life wasted when I dated my ex, and as soon as I became single I thought of some stuff I wanted to do, sometimes even crazy stuff. Sure made up for the years lost. You're going to die anyway, so technically everything you do is a waste of time. Just enjoy yourself and have fun while you can. There is a Chinese saying the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best is today. Don't think of the time past. Make the best of every day from today. Get some sleep. Eat well and rock the shit out of every day from now. I was worried at first, but I ignored most of that and I moved on. Now I'm on the right path again. Come to the realization that a lot of people have never realized that their life needed to change and make positive decisions to improve your life little by little. It takes time, but you can look at each day and say that you're already stronger than the person you were yesterday. Have that feeling keep penting up inside me until I become more and more anxious. At this point I don't even think I'm a late bloomer, I'm a never bloomer. Everyone I know has great lives and they have accomplished great things. And I'm probably going to be a NEET for the rest of my days. This is a recent thing for me, so I feel absolute excitement sharing it with you. I realized that the last 14 years of my life I have underperformed, willingly, and gotten used to accepting what came my way. I have absolutely wasted my time. This feeling is the truest thing I know. So, 3 weeks ago while I was down about how bad I have let everything become, I decides to change everything. All my choices have led me to this point and I don't like this point. So the solution I have been following now is to actively do the opposite of what I would have previously chosen. Get out of my comfort zone especially. And I'm not lying. But I have had a smile on my face on some days. Just because I feel so crazy happy inside. My calendar now looks totally different. My feelings are totally different. I'm the happiest I have been since I was a child. Use it as motivation. You can already now stop wasting your time. Go go go. Full steam ahead. If you haven't tried it, I absolutely recommend it.